Hey everyone, my name is Mars, like the planet, and this is Housewarmin. At the end of last year, I posted a video explaining my entire story and struggle with having a generalized anxiety disorder. And I also talked about my story of being put on Lexapro. Now, the outpour of comments that I had on that video was honestly amazing. I was so excited to have so many people really resonate with my story and understand where I was coming from. I will definitely link that video down below. But just in summary, I've been struggling with anxiety for quite a while, and I was prescribed Lexapro. As of right now, I've been taking the 20 milligrams of Lexapro for about a year now. March of 2023 marked 1 year of me being on Lexapro, and I saw a ton of comments that I answered, but I also just wanted to answer here just to have them all in one collective video. So today I'm just going to be answering a ton of questions that people asked me about Lexapro specifically, or Escitalopram or Escitalopram as I've seen it pronounced. So if you are considering taking Lexapro, if you are on Lexapro right now, or if you have an anxiety disorder and are considering going on medication, hopefully you find this video helpful, because I will be answering 10 of the most asked questions that I had on that last video. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So the first one is not really a question, but it says, I've never heard someone say everything that I felt. This video is the first time I've felt like I am not alone. Thank you. And I had so many of those comments, and it honestly just it almost made me feel seen, because for a long time when you're battling with a mental health disorder or a mental illness, you feel like you're crazy. Honestly, you feel like no one out there understands what you're going through, and no one can relate to you. So having other people say that they related to what I was going through, I really felt like, oh, like people actually understand me. And I was so glad that my story resonated and found the right people, because a lot of times, you can get a lot of hate for putting, your mental illness story out there. And so I was really glad that the comments were so kind and understanding, and a lot of people really understood where I was coming from. And I'm glad that my story was able to help you guys who saw that video. The first question says, girl, you described how quiet it was in your mind with meds. I almost cried, because I can only imagine what that would feel like. How did the medication change you as a person, or would you say that even happened? That's pretty much my only thing that I'm worried about. So I will say that any anxiety that you have about taking medication, about it changing you, is perfectly normal, because you have anxiety. I felt the same way. When I was thinking about going on medication, I was adamant that I didn't want to be on medication. I didn't want to be dependent on it. I didn't want to be seen as a crackhead. I didn't want to, have it alter my brain chemistry or anything like that. And honestly, Lexapro is designed to do exactly what it's meant to do. It is going to stop your anxiety symptoms, and that's it. It's not going to make you turn into a zombie. It's not going to make you a totally different person. I'm the exact same person. I'm just not anxious, to the point where people outside of my, inner circle that didn't even know that I was struggling just didn't even realize that I was on medication. That's how, much of the same that I am. I will say that, my partner, as well as the people closest to me, definitely see a difference when it comes to my anxiety. But as a person, I am just the same as I was before. I really didn't have any life altering changes about me as a person or as my personality. You're going to be the same person you were before the medication. You're just not going to be anxious. So yes, that can change your life and the way you go through the world, and maybe it may change how social you are, how many friends you make. But at the core end of the day, you're going to be the same person. You're going to have the same personality traits. You're not just going to be a zombie. The next question says, love the video. Thank you. It was very relatable. I'm glad. I would also love if you made a separate video more addressing Lexapro, how you felt before, during the start, and later down the line symptoms. I'm about to start taking it myself. So that's the exact reason why I decided to make this video. So when I first started out, I was super, super anxious. I could not really function in social settings. I just kind of shut down. And like I said, I will link the video down below just to give you a more cohesive or concise story. But I kind of set myself up as litmus test, I guess. I don't really know if that's the right word, but I kind of said, okay, before Lexapro, this is how I was. I actually ended up going on a cruise right before I took Lexapro and when I started taking Lexapro, and I was a hot mess. I'm not gonna say it ruined the trip, but I definitely had a mental breakdown or two, because there was just so many people, so much going on. It was just so much that I just couldn't handle it. I also couldn't even go to the gym to work out. I would rather have died than gone to the actual gym. After I started taking Lexapro, the symptoms that I had at the beginning were dry mouth, and that was the first 3 days. And then now the only symptom that I can say has kind of has been consistent is that I am drowsy just a little bit. But to avoid being drowsy while on the medication, I just take it at night. I will say, and the doctor should tell you, that you should see a difference in 6 to 8 weeks. And if you have not seen a difference, they may up your dosage. The next question says, almost everything you spoke about is what I'm going through right now. My appointment is coming up soon and I'm scared to take medication and the withdrawal if I have to come off of it. There are so many videos out there about how terrible medication is, but for me right now, I'm running out of options. The side effects scare me the most. What other side effects did you have or have currently? So like I just mentioned, the only side effects that I had at the very beginning was dry mouth. Oh, I forgot to mention the 2 side effects I have right now are excessive sweating, and that's just because I'm a generally sweaty person. And I just feel like right now, being on Lexapro, that is one of the side effects, is excessive sweating. So if I start sweating, girl, it's on. Like, I am a slippery, wet mess, like, honestly. But I'm not sure if that affects, honestly, everybody, because I already sweat a lot before I started taking Lexapro. Also, like I said, it does make you drowsy, so your doctor may advise you to take it at night. If you talked about, you also mentioned or asked about withdrawals, and right now I am slowly weaning myself off of Lexapro just to see what would happen, and I have not had any withdrawal symptoms at all. Normally, I would take Lexapro every single day, once a day at night. Then I started taking it every other day, maybe every 2 days, every 3 days, just to see if I saw any symptoms. And honestly, I feel exactly the same. I have not spoken to my doctor about this, so I do not advise you to do this, but this is just something I wanted to see how I felt, and I did not have any withdrawal symptoms. And currently I am taking Lexapro maybe every 4 days or so, and I feel just the same. I'm not becoming anxious again. It's not like I'm reverting or anything like that. Now, I do not know what would happen if I completely stopped taking Lexapro altogether. I assume that I am able to skip dosages because it's in my system. So I don't know what would happen if I went 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, a year without taking Lexapro, if this is, permanent, or if I can just revert back to having anxiety. I'm not sure. I do have a doctor's appointment in May, so I will be able to talk to my doctor then about the best option for me coming off of Lexapro. The next question says, I'm not even scared of side effects. I have a fear of being on medications for life or having withdrawal issues in the future. Also, I don't want it to permanently change my brain. So like I said, I am not a doctor, but I would hope that Lexapro permanently changes my brain because I don't want to have anxiety anymore. I can't imagine becoming so dependent on a drug that I have to take it for the rest of my life. I am hoping that I can come off of it and be perfectly fine. But like I said, I have not had a follow-up with my doctor since I first started getting on the medication. So right now, I'm just not sure. I just know I can go maybe 4 or 5 days without taking it. But like I said, I have not experienced any withdrawals, but I do not know down the line how long I will have to take this, or if this is just something I need to keep in my back pocket, like an Advil or a Tylenol whenever maybe I have a bad day. I don't know what that looks like. So I will have to ask my doctor and report back. How long did it take for the medicine to start working for you? I pray to get this. I started taking Paxil. So when I first started taking the medication last year in March of 2022, I was prescribed the 10 milligrams by my doctor. That is the smallest dosage that you can take. And then I went on a cruise and I was still anxious, and I was like, oh my God, what if the medication's not working? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm gonna have to just, what if this medication doesn't work at all? I'm gonna have to find a different medication. This is a hot mess, da 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 da. But my doctor wanted me to come back after 6 weeks to see how I was doing. And I told her I was honest. And I think you should be honest with your doctor because they're the one prescribing you the medication. I said, I'm still anxious. I still don't know if this medication is working. I don't know if it's for me. I'm kind of spiraling a little bit because now I'm worried that it's not gonna work for me. And she was like, relax. Like, it just means that you need a higher dosage. So we're gonna put you on the 20 milligrams and you should be okay. So after 6 weeks of taking the 10 milligrams, I was then bumped up to the 20 milligrams. I did not experience the dry mouth symptoms again, but she still told me to start taking it at night, so I did not feel drowsy. And I would say maybe after 3 weeks or so, I started to feel a difference. I started to be able to go to the gym. I actually was able to sign up for the gym without having a panic attack. I was able to feel normal at work and having work meetings and things like that. So I will say that the first time I really saw myself having a difference was at a crawfish boil that I went to at our meeting at work. I went to a crawfish boil, and normally these are things, huge gatherings of people just stress me out. So I went to this huge gathering and I was perfectly fine. And this was in May. So if I had started taking it in March, I went through 6 weeks of the 10 milligrams and then I was on the 20 milligrams. So that was the month of April. And then in the end of May, I will say that I was like, wow, this is actually working. I am not experiencing any social anxiety symptoms at all. So you can give or take a few weeks to see how long it started working for me. But I would say if I started taking it in March, by May, I was like, yes, this is actually working for me. The next question says, how long until you felt completely recovered? So this is a kind of tricky question because I already kind of halfway answered it. So I will say March, April, May, about 2 months, but you're never really completely healed from anxiety or completely healed from a mental illness. There's still a lot of work that you have to do with yourself, with your relationships, with the people around you. Because yes, you may not be anxious, but the entire foundation of who you are is now different, if that makes sense. So there were still things that I was struggling with. For example, I still currently am going through an eating disorder. So there may still be other symptoms that are not cured specifically by Lexapro that you may still need to work through, that you may still need to figure your life out. So yes, being on Lexapro and not having anxiety is great, but I would never say that I am completely recovered. There are a lot of things in my life that I'm still working through. I'm still learning how to be a healthy person in a relationship, a good friend, a good sister, things like that. So you're never going to feel completely recovered. But if you're just asking how long it took for the medicine to start working and you should notice a difference, I would say 3 months max, but also your doctor should be the one that is asking you to come back in to have a follow-up exam after 6 weeks to see how you're doing and to assess you. So you should know at minimum at 6 weeks if the medication is working or not. But for me, 3 months out, I was like, this for sure is working for me. Lexapro is the answer. The next question says, thanks for the video. You're welcome. Do you think Lexapro can help with emotional/sleep issues? So definitely it helped with emotional issues. I would say that I was very irritable. I would get very upset to the point where I was violent against myself. I had a lot of problems with self-harming myself. So I do think that now I would say I'm not like numb to emotions, but when I do get upset or when I do get mad or frustrated, I still feel those feelings, but it passes so quickly. Just last night, I got into somewhat of a back and forth with my partner and I'm over it. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I moved on. And that's what I kind of like, we kind of joke about. Like, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I'm on Lexapro. Girl, I don't care. Like, I'm on Lexapro. And it's not to say like I'm numb to things, but I just move on so quickly that I don't hold grudges. Also, sleep issues. There's a second question I'm going to read right now. The second question says, does Lexapro help you sleep? I have severe insomnia and I would like to know. Thank you very much. So sleep in general, I do not think that Lexapro can help with your sleep. For me, I would say that it is for anxiety. So I'm not really sure if it helped with my sleep at all because I never had trouble falling asleep. The only thing it makes you is drowsy, and that's not sleepy. So I will say that I normally take melatonin at night to help me stay asleep. I have no problem falling asleep. Honestly, I could go take a nap right now, but I've never had a problem falling asleep or anything like that. I normally have a problem staying asleep. Usually within the 2 hours before I'm supposed to wake up, I do that thing where you think your alarm is about to go off and you're like, oh, is it time for me to wake up? No, okay. Oh, is it time for me to wake up? No, okay. And I'll do that. So normally I will take little melatonin gummies. Me and my partner both do. And I know melatonin is really popular right now. And that honestly helps me go to sleep and stay asleep. But I have not found that Lexapro has anything to do with that. The last question says, why did you only seek out Black female therapists? So I am a Black female and I don't think there's anything wrong with having a therapist that doesn't look like you or is a different race from you or a different gender or anything like that. But I personally know that a lot of my struggles and the root of my anxiety was caused from being a Black female, and I wanted someone that could understand where I was coming from. Having a Black mother, having a Black father. There are things in our culture that only a Black person would understand and would know and would get. And there's a lot of things within Black culture that we just all know. We just all get how our moms are, how our dads are, how our grandparents are, how living in the South is. There are a lot of things that we just know. And I just really wanted someone who could relate to my story and who could really understand. And all of the therapists I had truly understood what I was going through with the relationship with my family and things like that. So that was the main reason why I decided to get a Black female therapist. I also wanted a female just because I feel more comfortable talking to a female. I honestly did not feel comfortable sharing personal information about myself with a male, let alone even if it was a Black male. That just wasn't something I was comfortable with. And I think that everyone deserves to be around a therapist that they are comfortable with and opened up with and able to open up with. So those are all of the questions that I got asked on those videos. I had a lot of repeat questions and kind of asking the same thing, but overall right now, a year after taking Lexapro, I am slowly starting to wean myself off of it. Like I said, I am on the 20 milligrams of Lexapro. It took me about 6 weeks to know that the 10 milligrams was not working. And then it took me at least 3 months to truly know that the medication was working for me. It did not change me as a person, and it does not help me with sleep at all because I did not face sleep problems to begin with. The only side effects I experienced was dry mouth in the first 3 days. And then now the only thing is that it does make you drowsy, but I do take it at night. I have a follow-up with my doctor in May, so I will definitely report back to see what my options are, because I do want to know if Lexapro is something I will have to take for the rest of my life, which I'm hoping I don't, and see if I can wean myself off of it, because I do not have any withdrawal side effects. But I also want to know, once Lexapro is fully out of my system, will I go back to being an anxious person? Or is Lexapro something I will need to just take maybe once a week or whatever? Like, I'm just not sure what those are. So I will definitely report back after I speak to my doctor. And if you have any questions about Lexapro, obviously you're doing the right thing by researching on YouTube. But please remember that I am not a doctor. I am just a lonely person on the internet who is taking in medication. So please make sure that you consult with your doctor, your therapist, so they can make the best plan for you. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it answered all of your questions about Lexapro. And if you are struggling out there, just know that I truly understand what you are going through, and know that it does get better. I know that is so cliche, and you can think that you will never get better, but I promise you there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Whether you think medication is for you, or just therapy is for you, or just going on a vacation is for you, I truly hope that you are going to feel better in whatever you are struggling through. Thank you for watching my video. I post new videos every single Wednesday, so I will see you guys next week. Bye.